boy and his dog creature. Alright there, you little demons. Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the crown jewels of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you. Yes, you, the person who, just before recording this, decided, hey, I'm gonna get a jump on this week's work and I'm gonna record a batch of voiceovers, right? And I got through 2 of them before then I realised that my mic wasn't plugged in the full way and it sounded like I was talking inside a little tube. Love that for me. Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week, and this week we have none other to thank than Zezel Met. Give me a bit of extra spice on that one there, for their suggestion of video game side characters that were way more powerful than you, the supposed main hero. And trust me, this is an experience that I'm all too familiar with, because of this guy. What up, Big Pitch? Oh, don't think that I haven't noticed that you have overshadowed me. I gave you life. Well, technically, I did, because you're still technically a PNG, but I birthed you, my friend, and this is how you repay me? No, I'm joking, of course. I love the fact that Big Pidge is part of the family, and the fact that you guys have embraced him so. But at the same time, I do feel like he's stopped riding my coattails a long time ago, and now I'm just kind of coasting on his wings. The view's quite nice. Where am I going with this? An intro, my friend. So let's have a chat about it. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 video game side characters that are way more powerful than you.
Oi, you! What are you buying? What are you selling? Well, I'm so pleased you asked, because if you want to stay safe online and browse freely, NordVPN is running an unbelievable deal at the minute that gets you up to 76% off subscriptions and 3 months free. Just scan the QR code in this video or click the link in the description below and it's all yours.
Thunder God Cid from Final Fantasy Tactics. Boom, pow, let's kick this list off with perhaps the single most infamous example of an ultra-powerful side character, that being Thunder God Cid from Final Fantasy Tactics. And let's be honest here, the name kind of says it all, really. I mean, it's not just called like mild-mannered Cid who goes down the shops once a week, or, you know, hedge trimming Cid. No, it's Thunder God Cid. And this guy means goddamn business. Now, Cid, somewhat understandably, joins your party only near the end of the game, given that he's quite arguably the single most overpowered party member in all of Final Fantasy history, and he effortlessly surpasses the might of protagonist Ramza by orders of magnitude. If his name somehow didn't tip you off to his absolute power, this dude also straight up enters the party while rocking Excalibur, of all things. He's just there like, oh yeah, this, just found it in some lake, just chucked it in there, and I was just like, oh, fish this out, this old thing, these old rags, this giant mithril armor set, oh. I'm sure you've got a set, right? Moreover, his stats make him so goddamn powerful, it basically trivializes the rest of the game should you actually choose to use him. And you will, because why wouldn't you? Now, Ramza is certainly no slouch in his own right, but Cid is a literal living battlefield legend, a character that is capable of just turning up to any fight and just going, bad guys, delete, delete, delete. I'm Matt Hardy, circa 2018? When did he go into the broken Matt Hardy? So do you know this?
About 2016?
It won't help me because I'm obviously recording this apropos of you being here.
That's not what that word means.
Still, delete, delete, delete. All in all, it kind of feels like he should be a secret party member that's only unlocked by defeating the final super boss. Because my God, this guy is powerful. Next up, let's talk about Trico from The Last Guardian. Now, The Last Guardian is a brilliant action-adventure game from the geniuses behind Shadow of the Colossus, in which you play as a human boy who teams up with a huge griffin-like creature called Trico to escape dangerous otherworldly ruins. Now, before I go on with my script here, let's just take a look at what we've got here. Let's take stock of our situation. You are a small boy with bones about as strong as wet tissue. And this is a giant guardian dog griffin. I wonder which one is more powerful. Shall I poll the audience side?
I don't think there's any need for that.
says I. It's the giant dog, in case you were wondering. I really shouldn't have to spell this out. Now, the gameplay here is all about contrast. As the boy, we're relatively slow and weak, but we can reach smaller areas than this giant dog creature, which obviously it can't. It could just barrel through, but it doesn't. But what Trico can do is leap across huge gaps, effortlessly transport you between locations, put up a fight against other giant enemies, and even shoot lightning from its tail at certain points. Now, all of the things before the lightning tail were pretty goddamn impressive, but the lightning tail just feels like the cherry on top of the, yeah, you're not having any of this, mate, cake. The boy, by comparison, is just a boy. But that's exactly the point. You are paired with something that is orders of magnitude stronger than you, but neither can succeed in their journey without t'other. So, yeah. It still doesn't make me feel like I wouldn't want to shoot like that at my tail. Just saying. Elizabeth, Bioshock Infinite. Now, Bioshock Infinite's Elizabeth is commonly cited as one of gaming's all-time great sidekicks, and it sure doesn't hurt that actual protagonist Booker DeWitt basically resembles a minimum wage mall cop next to her. And this is because, after all, Infinite is structured kind of like a sort of reverse escort mission, with players being protected by Elizabeth throughout. Not only will she give Booker aid items during combat, she can also open portals or tears to summon more wares and weapons. And the full extent of Elizabeth's skills extend far beyond that, what with her ability to traverse space-time itself, while Booker is basically just a bloke. Imagine the boy from the previous entry, but grown up into the bloke. It's like Gunny and the man. He's the man. He has a gun though, but somehow I start thinking that maybe being able to tear open the space-time continuum might be slightly more powerful. But I guess we shouldn't sell Booker too short, because he is ultimately an exceptional combatant by the standards of just a flesh and blood human being with no metaphysical abilities. But when sized up against Elizabeth, he can't help but seem like a bit of a jobber. She's this was the mega powers, right? We're just going to really dive into the WWF era. If this was the mega powers, she is both Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. You're the. She's mega powers. You're just the. Powers and the. Long story short, there's a reason that everyone speaks about Elizabeth more than they do Booker DeWitt, and that's because she's just better at everything. Anyway, moving on now to Charles Smith from Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, while there's a fair argument to be made that Red Dead Redemption 2's Arthur Morgan is better leadership material, it's tough to argue with the pound-for-pound prowess of his comrade, Charles Smith. Now, Charles is repeatedly shown to be the most physically powerful member of the Vandalin gang, and basically he's the most potent hand-to-hand combat in the entire game. Between his flawless record in fighting tournaments and ability to haul extremely heavy loads, Charles is an absolute unit beyond compare, and there's absolutely no way that Arthur can compete with that raw power and immense conditioning. Now, I guess that you could certainly suggest that Arthur has a more well-rounded skill set, and as it pertains to gunslinging and the particulars of being a veteran enforcer, but if you need a roughneck to quite literally break someone in half, then Charles, well, he's definitely your man. Needless to say, if Charles and Arthur ever actually came to throwing it down without weapons, Arthur would get positively bodied. Up next is Martin Septim from The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Now, The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion offers up some fun subversions of the prototypical hero's journey, because while the player character known as the hero of Kvatch plays an instrumental role in preserving Tamriel's future, they're ultimately just like a facilitator of another hero's rise to even greater heights. Now, there's a strong argument to be made that the real protagonist of Oblivion is none other than Martin Septim, the secret son of Uriel Septim VII, who players spend a huge chunk of the game nudging towards his ultimate destiny. And that destiny is transcending his human form and becoming something more powerful in order to defeat the Daedric Prince of Destruction. Now, in the game's climax, Martin shatters the Amulet of Kings, merging himself with the spirit of Akatosh, the dragon god of time. As in, Martin straight up becomes a dragon, kicks Dagon's ass, and then enters the afterlife to join his ancestors. At what part did you think that you were more powerful than that? I mean, sure, don't get me wrong. We've all seen your cheese strategy of just crouching down in a bush, shooting somebody with an arrow. getting your sneak stat and archery up, and just doing that to everything. We all have tried that build, but at the same time, don't think you can do that to a being that can actually like warp space-time itself. The arrow will just sort of fly and then come back around and hit you in the back of the head. You'd be like, oh, now I see. Oh, the consequences of my own actions. Okay, let's talk about Ciri from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, it would be deeply silly to suggest that Big G, Geralt, is anything less than an extremely mighty and badass warrior, but ultimately, he was always set to be surpassed by his protege, Ciri. Now, Ciri gets a huge leg up because elder blood courses through her veins, which allows her to access powers that Big G simply cannot, namely the ability to travel through space and time. It's all just space and time stuff, isn't it? If you notice this, just basically you play as a regular pal, maybe you have some like little magic powers, but somebody just comes along and be like, oh, you can do that? Oh, the lovely little party trick there, Gandalf. But here's what I can do. Oh yeah, I can just go into a different reality. Why don't I just use that to immediately solve all of the problems that present themselves in the plot? Well, Time would say that I haven't figured out how to use them properly yet, and I'll just figure out how to use them at the end of the story. Yeah, no, it's quite annoying. Yeah, it's quite annoying. Because Big G is immensely powerful in his own right, but the potential of Ciri's abilities to literally reshape the world, that's verging on godlike, ensuring that there's absolutely no match for her. And you know what? Potential is key here, because she's already more powerful than Geralt will likely ever be, and that will just widen over time. So it's somewhat fitting then that Ciri will be the protagonist of the upcoming 4th Witcher game, though it also wouldn't be remotely surprising if she was given a bit of a nerf to prevent that game from being an hilariously easy power fantasy simulator. Could you imagine that? You just load up after waiting all these years for The Witcher 4, and it's just like, problem presents itself. Ciri turns to camera, opens portal, walks through, kills them when they were young or just when they weren't even looking, or just goes into a different future altogether to ignore this problem. End credits. £70, please. What's that? Does somebody hear the sounds of naked running footsteps? Why, it's time to talk about Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Now, when Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty was released, fans could not stop complaining about franchise icon Solid Snake being switched out for new protagonist Raiden, who was near universally deemed as an inferior replacement. His lesser combat experience and overall sort of slightly green demeanor didn't endear him to many fans. But that perception certainly shifted when Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots came out. By the time of the 4th game, Snake is suffering from extensively accelerated aging due to being a clone of Big Boss, ensuring that he is considerably weaker than he was the last time that we saw him, even rocking the moniker of Old Snake. Raiden, meanwhile, makes his illustrious return as a bloody cyborg ninja, which, while being a result of the Patriots experimenting upon him against his will, does make him considerably faster, stronger, and more durable than either he or Snake ever were in their respective primes. Now, though Snake is still a highly skilled infiltrator in Metal Gear Solid 4, his weathered nature and love of coughing by accident to attract the guards definitely makes him less competitive to the actual killing machine of Raiden 2.0. You definitely could imagine the scene between them where he's there like, I'm sneaking through the rubble, changing my camo, painting my face so they don't see me. And then he just gets there, stands up, he's like, where are all the guards going? There's just a bloody mass on the floor, and there's just like Ninja Raiden just like standing there, just cleaning his place. Like, you took your time, mate. I had enough time here to pop a Ginster's pasty in the microwave. You missed out, mate. It was the steak and onion one. I know I would have saved you some, but it was getting cold, mate. Better to be eaten than to be cold. That's what they say. That's what they say. Yeah, they didn't put an intelligence chip in, did they? So let's talk about Kazuma Kiryu from Yakuza Like a Dragon. The original protagonist of the Yakuza / Like a Dragon franchise, Kazuma Kiryu, is without question one of the strongest fighters, with there being precious few who could even get close to matching him. And so when the 7th game, Yakuza Like a Dragon, introduced a new protagonist in the form of Ichiban Kasuga, many were concerned that Ichiban would immediately supplant Kiryu as the top dog in town. After all, that's what they do. New guy better than old guy. But thankfully, the developers actually seem to appreciate Kiryu's legendary status in the series, and so when he shows up later on in the game as a side character, Ichiban, well, proves to be absolutely no match for him. Even though we as players technically defeat Kiryu in a late game boss fight, the ensuing cutscene shows that he single-handedly holds off your entire party, leaving Ichiban a sweaty and very confused mess. After all, Kiryu is an almost supernaturally skilled fighter with decades of experience behind him. It would be ludicrous for a wet behind the ears, fresh out of prison Ichiban to take him to school. He's letting you have a taste before he then delivers a buffet of pain right to the face. And though the gap between the two has definitely narrowed since, as Ichiban has become a more skilled fighter and Kiryu battles a cancer diagnosis of all things, Kiryu's status as the series' GOAT fighter definitely remains firmly intact. Well, for now at least. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video game side characters that were way more powerful than you. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as your suggestions for next week's episode. I love to read them all, so pop them down there, my friend, and maybe you will have your idea made into a video hosted by this absolutely idiotic egg. Hey, what a prize. But if you want to chat to me on the social medias in the meantime, you can do so by going over to @RetroJ, but the O is a 0 on both Instagram and Blue Sky, and you can follow my ever-patient and absolutely lovely editor Sai over on her social medias over here as well. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today about side characters who overshadowed our own efforts, don't let envy, that green-eyed beast, be the thing that controls your life, my friend. People will do great things in life, and that should be celebrated and held individually from our own aspirations and goals. It's always good to try and chase and emulate and maybe even take inspiration from other people, but don't try to be them, my friends. Be yourself. That's the best thing you can be, and to be honest, it's the only thing that we can be. So be true to that own goal. Just remind yourself each and every day that your actions, your decisions, your goals, your aspirations, and all of the things that make you you, they are important and are to be celebrated, not pushed down. Big love to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. I hope you achieve your own personal life goals. All right? Now get out there and smash it. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.